Today we are going back to SmackDown 2, but not in the way that you'd think. For today we are covering an early version of SmackDown 2. Let's see how different it is from the final version that we got. Okay, already the main menu is completely different. We have this different main menu with no animation whatsoever and literally just a press start button. So we're going to go into the main menu now that I've pressed start. I don't think there's any different load screens in this version. I couldn't see any different load screens, but we'll go through a list of features from the cutting room floor once we have a look at these menus here. So we have Exhibition, Season, Create Pay-Per-View, Create Superstar, Create Taunt, Create Stable, Create Manager, Rankings, Build Records, Options, Exhibition. Okay, so obviously we have to go options. Did that just crash the game? Nope, it's loading. Okay, there's no music playing here, so I don't know, there's no audio at all. I don't see any different rules at all. And maybe these icons on the right are slightly different from retail. Hard to tell. Let's have a look at these ring mats, though. Do we have any different ring mats? In fact, these are the SmackDown 1 ring... Wait, whoa, okay. So we have the Raw and SmackDown from SmackDown 1. I don't remember if they're in SmackDown 2 or not. We also have mats for WrestleMania, Backlash, Judgment Day, King of the Ring, Fully Loaded, SummerSlam, Unforgiven, No Mercy, Survivor Series, Armageddon, No Way Out, Royal Rumble, and Normals, and also Heat, but they have no logos attached to them, so I guess we'll never know what they look like. What about arenas? So we have Raw, SmackDown, Arena 3, which I think is the stage, is it not? Oh no, Arena 3 is like the Japanese with two entranceways. Entrance 1 is SmackDown, entrance 2 is the stage. That's where Raw is. You got the lobby, second floor, basement, restaurant 1, plaza, diner, VIP, dressing room, locker room, shower room, parking lot, kitchen. Thinking about that, the kitchen, isn't in SmackDown 2. I'm trying to remember if the boiler room is also in SmackDown 2. There are definitely a lot of like holdovers from SmackDown 1. We'll talk about them more shortly. So going into Exhibition here, we can have a look at the different match types. We have single, tag, anywhere, hardcore, handicap, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, Survivor. I'm assuming that's Battle Royal and Special. So let's have a look at Survivor. Okay, that's where your triple threats, your four-way dance, and your Battle Royal. I'm pretty sure four-way dance is incorrect. That doesn't make it into retail, but there is a special option here with Cage, Hell in a Cell, I Quit, Iron Man. I don't think there's anything here that is different or unique. Maybe the background isn't as animated, but I think it's the exact same. Oh, there's no audio for selecting things. I just realized there's no like selection audio for going down the list. But anyway, let's have a look. Let's go to A and just go from there. So we got Al Snow, Billy Gunn, Boss Man, and we have the Big Show. So I guess the most important thing to note from this version of the game is that Big Show was still part of the original roster, even with his name and finisher and everything still in the game. This is actually a surprisingly big roster as well. Like, that's a different picture for Jeff Hardy. That is an unformatted picture for Joey Abs. That is a creepy picture of Kane. And yeah, there's Ken Shamrock again. Shamrock was cut from the final version of the game because he left the company. And here he is in SmackDown 2, the beta version. God, this even has Michael Cole. Have I loaded like a weird save or something? Like, how is there so many people here? This doesn't seem right. I guess actually maybe this is a prototype version of the game, so this isn't really like publicly facing, right? This build was for reviewers to play the game early. So that's probably why the full roster is here. Otherwise, this would have all been like hidden. Let's load into a match here. There are no entrances, it appears, so we're just gonna go straight into the match. I've just chosen to use Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know if there's anything particularly different with these guys. I think Triple H has a different model in this, not so much this version of the game, but he definitely has a different model between SmackDown 1 and 2. I feel like in SmackDown 1 he's still using the long kind of tights that he wears early in the DX cycle, whereas in this version of the game, we are looking at the game. This is definitely like when he's got short trunks. And we chose to go against Austin here, who again looks exactly the same as his SmackDown 1 model. I never really liked his SmackDown 1 and 2 model. I never thought they looked particularly great. His face especially kind of actually gives me the creeps. Like, it definitely looks like Austin, there is no doubt, but it just looks like Austin if he was like a demon. I don't know why he looks the way he does. Overall though, I mean, the ring looks the same. Like, you can actually go on these announce tables here and you have these little arrows, which I'm not really sure what they indicate, but yes, you can go on to the tables there. You can actually do some diving attacks, and if you get the camera right, you can see JR and King at ringside, but I'm pretty sure that was in SmackDown 1 as well, so maybe not the announce tables, but definitely JR and King were there. Oh, I have accidentally just rolled out the ring, so that is... Whoa, what? Okay, don't know why that happened, but again, that's the joys of an early build. In fact, I actually just paused the game there to sneeze, and I realized that the game has a different style menu here, even with different sound effects, which is interesting. So the base game does not look like this, I'll tell you that much. There's also not a lot going on in terms of audio. Like, the game is actually very quiet. I don't know if maybe it's just the absence of the background music, because I'm so used to playing these SmackDown games with background music, but yeah, there isn't really a lot going on in terms of audio. I suppose I'm neglecting as well the stage there is no Titantron, right? The Titantron graphic is not working. It's just some generic texture in the background there, so I'm guessing they're going to implement that at some point. There we are. We got a gut kick there into the pedigree, taking him down with a KO finish as well. These games are notorious for their KO finishes. And yeah, that is SmackDown 2. So we have ending animations as well. Why did my controller disconnect? What the hell? Yes, this is a DX style ending animation. This isn't the game Triple H where he does like the big, you know, on the corners. I don't actually know if it's any different from the base game or not, but anyway. I realize this might be a little bit boring to some people, but I really like this stuff. So courtesy of the cutting room floor, we can actually have a look at some of the data that is actually kept in the prototype. So looking at the prototype already for SmackDown 2, they even mention the fact here that the build is dated August 11th, 2000, which is actually the day the game got announced to the public, but also the build was probably used for some of the pre-release videos and pictures for the game. So this is probably the build that publications like IGN and maybe some other, like, I don't know who was around at the time, but maybe like a GameSpot or something would have used to get their screenshots, their videos, their early footage, their previews. This is basically what you're playing here. Obviously, we've already talked about the fact that Ken Shamrock and Big Show were completely removed from the game. Ken Shamrock left the company and Big Show was sent back to developmental because he was apparently out of shape. And there were the story goes that they were worried about the New York State Commission not giving Big Show a sports license because he was out of shape. Therefore, he wouldn't be able to work. That's the story anyway, but that is basically where we got to with those two. Although their data is still in the final game, it was removed from the listings, so you weren't able to select them. There are now mods available, such as the Inspired packs that we've already played on the channel, that bring them back into the game. So it's funny how it all comes around, really. Interesting, it says here, many wrestlers are featured with earlier gimmicks, such as Prince Albert, who has an earlier, or rather Prince Albert is his earlier gimmick, but he would end up being, I guess, Albert. The Cat has black hair. Bull Buchanan has his squat gimmick as Big Boss Man's stablemate, whereas I think in the final game he's part of the Right to Censor. So it says here that a number of other wrestlers also have their outfits from the first game, such as the Godfather, who's still a pimp, so he's not the good father yet. He's not part of the Right to Censor. The Undertaker still carries his Ministry of Darkness character model. Big Show and Shamrock obviously still have their avatars from the previous game. It's interesting to note though, with the Undertaker, I'm actually going to reference Inspired's interview with the YUKES creative director, saying that the Undertaker was a very last minute addition. If you want to know more about that interview that Inspired had with the YUKES creative director, then you should check out the link down in the description below, because it's such an amazing video and it's so cool that they got the chance to ask some really awesome questions to the YUKES development team, as it were, the leader of the team. I don't know if people find this particularly interesting, but there are also early character select portraits of these. We noticed them when we were going through the list earlier. There are definitely some who have better character renders in the final game. There's maybe you prefer the prototype version, I don't know, but if you look between them here, you can see the difference between, like, The Rock is a totally different picture, Austin again totally different picture, H, I actually think I prefer H's prototype one, and X-Pac again very similar. Don't know what Billy Gunn was smoking in that first one. Big Show got replaced with Benoit, which is hilarious. And yeah, just some of these pictures are, like the Benoit one I think is better. I'm glad that they changed that one in the final. And in the prototype here, Eddie Guerrero was like not even aligned correctly. He's like way off to the sky. Some of these portraits were changed to reflect the gimmick changes at the time. So also the good Godfather became the Good Father. So that's also part of why some of those changed. The Hardy Boys as well, we noticed their icons going through the list earlier on, and Matt's one's really bad because you can't actually really see who it is. Obviously you know it's Matt, but I don't know, just you want to be able to just look at it and go, okay, that's Matt Hardy. But here, you know, the Jeff one is okay, but it's too far away. It needs to be closer in the face, so I'm glad in the final they obviously changed that one up as well. Mark Henry going from sexual chocolate to the world's strongest man to some extent there. I think he's still sexual chocolate at this point, but he's definitely looking more serious in his his final render. The Gangrel one, you can actually see that it's the same image, but they just zoomed in and color corrected it. I think overall what is quite interesting to me as well is that the final version of these images, they seem to have this kind of cohesion to them, right? They're all color graded the same way. They have this extra level of polish that I just think the prototype ones, although the prototype ones are fine, the final ones do probably in group look better, especially when you're going through the main menu. You're not jumping through different color tones, skin tones and stuff like that. So they do generally look better in my opinion. Then we're going into some unused graphics. So going through the season mode, although it's not available in the build that we're playing, the data is still in the game. So the data that is unused shows here that there is a prototype Raw's War, and then it gets in the final that would be changed to the more kind of modern look and the more modern squared logo there. The SummerSlam logo would that's the Highway to Hell SummerSlam logo that would then be replaced by this new sharp kind of SummerSlam logo. The King of the Ring, is that in the 98 or 99 logo, would be replaced by the kind of more modern King of the Ring logo. And the Survivor Series one would also be replaced with, I think that's the year 2000 Survivor Series. Royal Rumble as well, that is the Royal Rumble 2000 logo. WrestleMania becoming WrestleMania 2000 as well. And interestingly as well, the house show card from the first game is actually still in the game, but doesn't actually appear because of the way that season mode plays out this time. You also have all the numbers. These are all like the match ending graphics, but they're all here. These are all from the first game, but they are not used. SmackDown 2 ends up using this kind of futuristic font instead, so none of this actually gets used in the final game. There is also these unused loading screens. One is for, of course, we came across the Big Show one when I was playing the beta there, but I didn't actually think of it. But yeah, Big Show wasn't in the game, so why would he have a loading screen? And Rikishi also has a loading screen that we saw, but it was removed since he was already featured in the Too Cool. That's interesting that both Big Show and Rikishi ended up having extra loading screens in the game that never made it into the final. There are also a couple of placeholder graphics here that were probably used at some point for, if I had to take a wild stab in the dark, they were probably used at some point for the crowd signs, or maybe they were used for the roster selection images. I'm not really sure, but clearly these guys went around with a camera taking some photos of the office just to use as reference or just placeholder within the game, and I find that really, really cool. In fact, this one even has a calendar. That would be so cool if you could know like what if you could know what year it was based off that calendar. I'm sure somebody will do that. Some other things worth noting here that I was kind of talking about earlier. Fatal 4-Way is called a 4-Way Dance in this version. I don't remember the final version being called the 4-Way Dance, and maybe that gets renamed at some point. We also have hardcore matches. We'll always have counter enabled even though they're forced to turn off in the rules, so that's obviously a bug that gets fixed in the final. Hell in a Cell is fairly functional. We haven't actually tried it yet. We should try and play that. Although the announcer tables are always located on the left side of the arena, which can cause problems when climbing up and off of them. Any move on the top of the cell also results in the top panel breaking. Interesting. Cage matches use the Hell in a Cell's mesh cage, complete with the panels that look destructible but aren't, albeit without a roof. Interesting. I don't know if maybe the cage got updated between 1 and 2. Maybe SmackDown 1 uses the bars and SmackDown 2 uses the kind of cage mesh textures. It's worth noting that the cage and cell structure used in the previous 2 modes will only load in the SmackDown arena, as they are invisible in other arenas. That's interesting. The Royal Rumble is pretty non-functional, as wrestlers don't seem to be eliminated when ejected from the ring, and they will pull other wrestlers from under the rope to continue fighting outside. It can be done in SmackDown and the pay-per-view arenas, as well as backstage areas. That would be really interesting to do a Royal Rumble backstage to see how that plays, but obviously if it's bugged, then we're not going to do that. Special referee will crash in 2 referee modes, especially when going for pinfalls. It's very specific. And Slobberknocker is locked at all times, and the TLC match is completely missing. Didn't even realize that there was a TLC option that was not available in this beta. In the season mode, there are the default title holders, and obviously by the time the game came out, they had changed. So they changed the way that these champions are represented in the final game. All right, so we now have the Big Show loaded into the game with his SmackDown 1 model by the looks of it, and we've opted to go for The Rock here in this Hell in a Cell match. So I can see what they mean now by the announce tables appearing on the left side of the ring and how it could potentially cause problems. I'm curious though if it is possible to break the tables. Oh my god, you can. I think you can break the tables. Yeah, we broke one. Now the question is, can we break the other one? Because it looks like there's 2. Oh my god, it put me back onto the table, even though it was already broken. Okay, putting Big Show on the table actually spun it around as well, which is an interesting bug. Interestingly, I don't know what caused me to fall. Whoa. Okay, so I'm in the ring. Now I'm out of the ring. I think I'm still in the ground though. My height is not adjusted. How do I get back? Okay, so you can't actually jump off of the cage, interestingly enough. Wait, what? I tried to jump out of the cage, and it just it put me out of the ring. Oh great, now I'm going even higher. So what's going to happen here is it's going to drop me down, just drop me down into the sky. Okay, so that put me into the ring. My ingenuity fixed the problem there. We just had to dive from the top rope, and that reset my height. Yeah, this game is very buggy at this early stage. Obviously, this is still early days for the game. I can't actually remember off the top of my head when this game came out, but August would have been, maybe it's like March or something. So even though the game's in pretty good state here, there's still quite a lot of bugs and little things that can be worked out. So the AI is not very smart. It's struggling to climb the cage. It figures out that I'm on the cage and it's trying to go around, but it can't quite figure out how I'm actually supposed to get up there, or how it's supposed to get up there. So I think I'm gonna have to give it an assist here. Okay, it turns out you actually can't throw them up onto the cage, so I don't know if the game's gonna figure out how to climb this cage. Alright, we've run around this cage enough. I don't think he's gonna figure out how to climb the cage, so we're just gonna have to wing it here. Oh my god, he almost glitched through the cage by me not even dodging, by blocking that diving move. Almost sent him flying through the cage. It is actually possible to oh my god, that was cool as hell. He threw me out of the cage from inside the ring. Okay. Oh my god, it happened again. Oh, I can actually do this infinitely. Yep, this is completely normal. Can I just dive? Oh no, we can't dive. Hold on, if I go... Oh, it thinks I'm on the cage. Oh, sugar. And I missed them. Holy shit. Holy shit. Well, there's definitely no denying that this game can be broken. The final game is definitely more rigid than this. The final game is definitely more sturdy, or at least I feel so anyway. Oh my god, I've just broken out again just by doing a clothesline. Yeah, it's not great. Oh my god, I've rolled out of the ring once again. This Hell in a Cell match is extremely buggy. Well, I'm gonna get a showstopper. This is probably gonna be a KO, to be honest, with the amount of damage that we've done. Oh, it's not. Surely not gonna be able to kick out of this. Oh my god, it actually was. That's crazy. And he's gonna throw me out again. Oh, so that just works regardless of where you are. Oh, it's a 10-minute time limit. I didn't realize. Well, we don't have a winner for that match because it just kept glitching out. So Hell in a Cell matches definitely need a bit of work. I don't know why I'm complaining about this, because the final game ran totally fine in this department, but if you're going to play the prototype version, I would recommend steering clear of Hell in a Cell match. I think we can do one last match here just to close off the video here. This is Matt Hardy versus Ken Shamrock in the steel cage match, although they are right. The textures on the cage really threw me for a second there, because I thought I'd accidentally selected Hell in a Cell. But no, this is in fact a steel cage match. It just happens to have the same textures as the Hell in a Cell, so you can't break out those panels. I know it looks like you can, but you can't. But it's the same kind of setup here. You've got the kind of bugged announce tables on the corner there. I've lost the cage match, everyone. Well, that solves that problem. So apparently, yeah, if you get Irish whipped onto the left side there, I was going to say they're clipping into the ring a little bit. And yes, if you get Irish whipped into the left side, you can climb the announce table and you can get outside the cage. So there we are, another bug found, even though really that bug isn't because of the climbing the announce table and getting out. It's more the fact that they shouldn't even be there on the left side of the ring regardless. You know, I've always liked Ken Shamrock's models in these games. I know he doesn't appear really in a lot of wrestling games. It really is just SmackDown 1 and maybe some prior games. I think he might be in one of the Attitude or Warzone games, but I've always liked Ken's look, and obviously now he's in he's kind of appeared in a lot of the 2K games as well now. I've rolled out of the ring. It's fine though, because I'm not touching the floor. Oh my god, whisper in the wind, basically from the top of the cage there. It's interesting though, it did say that oh no, I can't stop running. Oh, and I lost. Oh, and the panels have disappeared. And he's floating. It's the gift that keeps on giving. That's going to be us for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this exploration into a preview build of SmackDown 2. Obviously, a lot of differences between the preview version and the final version. And obviously the game is in a very kind of unfinished state, but realistically, if you're thinking about it, if you were a journalist back in the day and you were trying to write up a preview piece for SmackDown 2, but the developers have said, hey, by the way, this is a little buggy now, but by the time it comes out, we'll have it fixed. This would be a really good little version to have. It really does give you like the full roster. Obviously, you don't have any access to season mode. Obviously, the cage matches and the Hell in a Cell matches are really buggy, almost to the point of like not even wanting to try them. But I think if you were writing a preview for the game, you would probably get another version before like the kind of the pre-release preview, as it were, like a beta as it was. And that would probably be a better indicator of the final preview of like what the game is actually going to be. Ultimately, I think this is a perfectly fine version of the game, even if it is horrendously buggy, but if anything, it actually makes you kind of realize and appreciate more the amount of work that goes into game development, and the fact that even just a few months away from release, this game is in a really good framework, but a really bad playability. Like there's loads of like gameplay bugs, but the fact they're able to get their head down, get the work in, and fix all those bugs is like a testament to how hard those developers worked and how they're able to overcome those problems, really. With that being said, that is going to be us for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking and subscribing, because it helps push the channel to as many people as possible. And of course, if you're watching on mobile, you can now hype the video as well, which puts us onto a whole other leaderboard so whole new people can find us. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a great week. Bye for now.